before 1992, when you used to purchase and sell shares, it was on paper.
Okay.
So we used to get a certificate which shows name of the company, quantity, and when I buy or sell, I have to deliver that to the broker, and the broker will give it to the exchange. So that entire process of buying and selling, getting the shares transferred in your own name would take sometimes from 1 month to 3 months.
What's the exact service which brokerage firms give?
Various services. One is, for example, if there is an IPO coming up, for example. So the broker would provide to the retail investor details of the IPO, give them the forms to begin with. Two ladies, they want to buy, say, gold, for example. So they can buy gold on the platform, paperless.
अब जैसे MFs आपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स आपने बताया, और कौन से ऑप्शंस हो सकते हैं फॉर द यंगर जनरेशंस?
It's divided into risk and non-risk. So if you look at risk, they can look at mutual funds and look at equity, direct equity also.
Okay.
Third, they can start investing in IPOs.
Hi everyone, on this episode of the Nitish Jain Show, we have Mr. Dhiren Shavidas. He is the founder of NoBroker.com and also of Kamaya Kya. Now he has a vast and immense industry experience of the investment markets for more than 25 years. He has seen it all, be it the era before Harshan Mehta's scam, be it the dematerialization processes, what changes were there in the market, and what are the different kind of instruments and how they have grown. In this episode of the Nitish Jain Show, we have covered different kind of available investment instruments. We have also talked about how the richest individuals in India invest their money and all things about money and business. This is an information-packed podcast and I'm really excited for the same. I'm pretty sure that you're going to gain a lot of knowledge about money and investments here. Looking forward to see you there. Hi Dhiren sir, how have you been?
Good, very well, thank you.
Business is rolling as usual?
Oh yes, very much.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're having this conversation about all things money. And honestly, you know, that's a general perspective ki money, finance, investments, it's the most boring topic for a lot of people. So, you know, the aim of this podcast is also to make it relevant and most importantly, interesting for the 20s or so listening to this podcast.
Right.
Make it really interesting, the whole topic of investments and all, right? So, you know, to begin with, can you just in a short minute explain what you have been up to, what you do?
Yeah. So my investment journey started when I was studying my chartered accountancy in Kolkata.
Okay.
So from the age of 19. So at that point of time, there was a policy by Government of India where all the multinationals were supposed to issue public IPOs. So we never knew shares at that point of time. This is some 30 years ago. So we started applying for the MNC shares. So there were shares like Cadbury, Colgate, Pfizer, Hindustan Ziva, Gege, and so on. So whenever we used to apply, get some shares, and we found that if we invested 100 rupees, it became 300 rupees. So there was a lot of money gained in the IPOs. So automatically interest got generated. And then from the finance side, we started studying deeply why these gains, why the appreciation.
Right.
And what are the reason for the appreciation? So we started doing valuation.
Okay.
So each company share price were evaluated.
Right.
So we discussed the points about growth, profits, and that's how the valuation increased.
So
that's how we got into the market.
Okay. So you were getting the IPOs in the market
at that point of time. So
right,
that was the first journey to learn equity markets.
Okay. And then you started with premium brokers.
Yeah. So we started a brokerage firm. So we are essentially a sub-broker of Kotak Securities.
Okay.
So we started that around 20 years ago. And the purpose was to, again, learn more on the markets, network with financial people, meet a lot of brokerage houses, meet banks, also get to know more about annual reports, meet the management, attend AGMs.
Okay.
And in nowadays world, we have con calls. Every quarter there are quarterly earning con calls. So there's a lot of data available. So brokerage was a medium to connect with new investors. And so I could give my ideas and, take them in the investment journey.
And then you now currently are running and guiding the Kamaya Kya generation, right? What's the firm about?
So as a follow-up of what we are doing, we started a research company 2 years ago. It's called Kamaya Kya Wealth Management.
Okay.
And what it does is we are SEBI registered and we are called RA, which is a research analyst.
Okay.
So being a SEBI registered RA, we are allowed to make reports of companies. So KamayaKya specializes in doing fundamental research, where we look at financials, the management discussions, attend con calls. We visit factories, look at the ground up approach,
Okay.
do channel checks, dealers, visit showrooms, look at the cash flows, and based on that, we see, based on the growth and the margins and the government policy, what are the triggers which can help get appreciation in the stock.
Okay.
Once we are sure of that, we make that recommendation.
Got it. Got it.
So it's a service we provide where the reports are used by many investors like yourself, and there are a lot of depth in the reports. So which allows you to get appreciation of 20 to 30%, maybe upwards 50%. So with proper knowledge.
Got it.
So that's the idea.
Okay. And so this is basically research analyst firm, and then Premium Brokers was brokerage firm. What you mentioned before also, right? And what happened during the initial days of the market, equity markets, where there were all the physical stocks, physically, जैसे have you seen the movie The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes.
Right. So उसके अंदर भी हमने देखा है movies के अंदर कि वो एक blue chip, yellow what's it called? Yellow chip companies.
Slips.
Yellow slips, yeah. The pink slips or something, yeah. So उस type के पहले चीज होती थी. So can you tell us a bit more about what happened then and what you did in electronic?
Before 1992, when you used to purchase and sell shares, it was on paper.
Okay.
So we used to get a certificate which shows name of the company, quantity, and the number of shares. And when I buy or sell, I have to deliver that to the broker, and the broker will give it to the exchange. So that entire process of buying and selling, getting the shares transferred in your own name, would take sometimes from 1 month to 3 months.
Okay.
That means during that gap, you cannot really trade because your shares are under transfer.
And आपका fund भी block हो जाता होगा वो time.
Fund भी block हो जाता है. Okay. Because your shares are lying with the company, they record your name and they send it back to you by registered post. So the whole cycle was maybe 30 days up to 90 days.
And now it's all digital. Dematerialization जब हुआ demat account के बाद.
तो 1992 में हर्षद मेहता scam हुआ. Largely it was a banking scam where they utilized bank money or institution money to purchase equity shares on the stock exchange. Now, because it was on paper and misused, Government of India decided to do paperless trading. So we had the NSE come up as a pure digital platform where your buying and selling of shares was digital. There was no physical paper. So it's like a bank account where you put in shares and take out shares just with a click. Okay. So it's very secured. It's like a bank statement. And so that nobody can do fraudulent activity on that. At the same time, your rotation of money goes faster because whenever you want to sell, you get money in 4 days. Likewise, you want to purchase, you get the shares in 4 days in your account.
Right.
So it's a big advantage for the retail investors and gives them more security and trust in the system.
But when we talk about, जैसे I want to make it even more relevant for a really new layman, who is understanding about this. जब हम brokerage like there are brokerage firms, right? What do they actually do in essence? Because देखा जाए तो जैसे बैंक है, banks का एक कोई software है, there you can directly buy and sell. पहले के ज़माने में आप बेचते थे, those are the mediators who are doing the transfer, right?
Yeah.
But right now, when automation is there, what's the need of a mid person, and where is the service? What's the exact service which brokerage firms give?
Yeah. So various services. One is, for example, if there is an IPO coming up, for example. So the broker would provide to the retail investor details of the IPO, give them the forms to begin with. That's one area. To ladies, they want to buy, say, gold, for example. So they can buy gold on the platform, paperless. So broker is there to interact with the end user.
Right.
So a bank is the larger institution, and they would not be able to easily contact all the retail.
Right.
So they would need an intermediary who can give live data, which is from the bank, like a Kotak Bank or HDFC Bank. So they would give the product and we would distribute the product. So you need a distributor. So you have the option to do it direct also. You can do it online. But if you don't have knowledge, it's difficult to do online. So many people start through a broker and then later on maybe switch online also once they are more comfortable.
Okay.
So both systems will work
Okay.
parallelly.
But now that the market has been in systems for such a while, what's the relevance of a traditional like broker with respect to the current platforms like Zerodha is there, right?
Right.
So जहाँ पे trading has become so easy कि मतलब कोई भी generally app download करके सारे चीज़ें checks balances करके and then they can directly trade. So with that, what is the difference between that and a general?
So there are different intermediaries, different in between Zerodha and the exchange.
Okay.
One is like a PMS system, which is portfolio management,
Okay.
where a client can say invest say 50 lakh rupees. I'm giving you different slabs available.
Yes.
Where a large investor can park money and take recommendations from a research house, which is like a portfolio management system.
Right.
That's for a larger user which having 50 lakh plus.
Hmm.
For retail who don't have time to do research, they can depend on a RIA, which is who's a regulated investment advisor,
Okay.
where you can invest right from 10,000 rupees to any amount,
Uh-huh.
and where they charge you a small fee to give you that advice.
Hmm.
So retail can use that advice as through the RIA,
Okay.
which is the research advisor.
Okay.
So that's another form of intermediary.
Hmm.
Okay. Eventually, once you get the advice, you can select any broker. It
Okay.
can be Zerodha or a bank broker or any like a Motilal Oswal to do that transaction of buying and selling.
Okay. But इससे भी फर्क पड़ता है क्या कि जैसे I mean at the end these are all just platforms.
Correct.
Does it matter कि वो Zerodha से करे या मोतीलाल ओसवाल से? It's just convenience, right? Either
Do
convince
it with
same.
any platform. All are equally good.
Right.
Maybe the rates vary, so the investor can decide if it's a low rate,
हाँ.
go for Zerodha
हाँ.
or Grow or Upstock, for example.
Okay.
And if they feel go to a better brokerage service, they can go to Motilal Oswal or a Angel One.
Okay.
So all prosper, all have market share, all have different service elements. So
Okay.
depends on the so many of the retail people have multiple accounts. They have Zerodha as well and Motilal or HDFC.
Okay.
You can have 2-3 if you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. So
So you can stick to anybody who if you like the service, you stick to them. If they don't give you service, go to somebody else.
got it. I'm also just trying to understand and build a base about the options available in the market before we actually jump into the conversation where we understand from a person in the 20s who might want to start investments, what avenues they have. So I feel what also you're saying is कि brokerage firms are there, but then what's the most I guess important is also the research analysts, right? कि कहाँ से आपको data मिल रहा है, कहाँ से understanding मिल रही है और उसको authenticity क्या है, because आप खुद भी research कर सकते हो, but like you said, कमाया क्या में you're even doing the factory visits and all, so you have an understanding of the foundation and the base of those investments which people might make.
Correct.
Right?
Absolutely.
So where do the society वाले uncle fit in जहाँ पे उनकी knowledge वो देते हैं?
So there are if you take your say your father or your grandfather,
Yeah.
they would have bought shares maybe 30 years ago, which in today's terms maybe they're 10x, 20x, 30x. Okay, they've created wealth by just selecting good quality stocks. Okay, so they bought a Colgate or they bought a HDFC Bank. What we call today is large caps, which are large companies. So they trusted a Reliance, they trusted some names which they think are going to last. And they stuck onto the investments. So that's the senior generation which has who have created wealth. Now the younger generation, like yourself, your options one is to do a mutual fund investment. Like you're doing a job and don't have time really looking at individual companies. So you can, from your salary, your monthly income, you can park it in mutual funds and slowly understand how investment works.
Okay.
So it can be small amounts. It can be maybe 500 rupees or 5,000 or 10,000, whatever is comfortable to you. And you start building your wealth, like your savings, you're building over a long period of time and move it into a wealth creation journey.
Right.
So what they call a SIP is every month you keep on investing.
Right.
And over maybe 5-10 years, you have a large capital, which allows you to maybe, which can use for a house, to buy a car or a marriage.
Right.
Or some aspirations you want to fulfill.
For those who might not know, SIPs are systematic investment plans, right? So SIPs, we can do the same in mutual funds. We can do the same in equities as well, and like different instruments, I guess, right? SIP is just a structure of investment.
Correct. It's just an allocation of money. How much you would like to do in that moment? Maybe it's a month or a week.
So you're just automating it. So
it's like a small investment on a regular basis.
Got it. So अब जैसे MFs आपने mutual funds आपने बताया, और कौन से options हो सकते हैं for the younger generations, for people who might have wealth of less than say a lakh and they want to just start in the
Yeah. So if it's it's divided into risk and non-risk.
okay.
So if you look at risk, they can look at mutual funds and look at equity, direct equity also.
Okay.
Third, they can start investing in IPOs.
Okay.
Fourth, they can look at putting money in gold if they require. Okay.
Okay. So gold as in physically buying the gold,
No,
the
DMAT, electronic gold,
electronic gold.
not physical.
Got it.
So that then you don't have to worry about lockers, taking care of the physical gold. It occupies space and plus security.
Got it. Got it.
If it's electronic, it's like your bank statement.
Right.
You have X amount of gold in your bank account.
Right. So specifically, I mean, gold is also traded on the market. So वो gold के अंदर करे. I can also, I guess, invest in currency markets, right? जैसे currency.
Yeah. So currency is
Forex.
highly regulated by Reserve Bank. There are authorized dealers.
Right.
There is also a currency exchange platform. So people having knowledge in currency can definitely do it there.
Okay.
So like currency, we have commodities also.
Okay.
So you can look at commodities, currencies.
Commodities like what?
Commodities like turmeric, rice,
Acha.
maize.
Okay, that can also we can
It's a
also
huge
manage.
exchange. Yeah.
Okay.
So largely the agriculture produce market is different.
Okay.
The currency market is different.
And where is it traded?
It is on the exchange. So we
On
have
the exchanges.
So we have an exchange called MCX.
MCX.
So on the MCX, a lot of commodities, crude oil, etc. are traded.
Okay.
Many of the exchanges also trade currencies.
Okay.
So it depends on the knowledge you have in order to trade in that.
Okay.
For example, I trade only in equities. I do not do currency or commodity because I don't understand that market on a long-term basis. Equity, our research helps to understand what we can do in the equity markets.
So, but then, I mean, I'm trying to, like, you know, when you're telling me, मैं एक young, like, I'm talking from my perspective, कि ना मेरे को interesting क्या लगता है, you know, from my own perspective. Definitely one thing which earns me money fast. You know, that's what the youth of today wants, because I feel कहीं ना कहीं patience कम है और ambition ज़्यादा है. So, and secondly, products which are more interesting, जिसके बारे में हमें generally understanding ज़्यादा like available हो, हमारे पास information ज़्यादा available हो.
So fast money is about everybody wants to make extra money, right? So, but fast money has a lot of speed breakers. For example, your generation used to look at crypto as a fast money making platform.
Right, exactly.
But they never understood that it is not regulated by the banks, by the Reserve Bank. It has got risk of the person running the exchange can disappear.
Okay.
Okay, so we have seen in US, we have seen in India where
Can you
money
tell me a bit more about this? Sorry.
So if, for example, you have coins or like a Bitcoin. So numerous exchanges gave Bitcoins, but there was no asset base around those Bitcoins. For
Asset base as in?
asset base, like today you have a balance sheet. So like a company has a balance sheet, you see assets and liabilities.
Right.
In a crypto world, you do not see assets and liabilities on paper.
Okay, because we don't
There is
know
no
where
balance
it's
sheet.
generated from.
There is no balance sheet. So it's like a blockchain technology where the issuer is giving you coins and it's like multiplied over the blockchain
Okay.
transaction, but you do not see any asset or liability on paper.
Okay.
I mean, there is no audited statement which goes to the bank or the regulator
Right.
or the RBI, for example.
Right.
So it is an unregulated exchange which has got no base. So recently you heard of WazirX, some money was hacked from their account.
$230 million. I mean, that's thousands of crores.
Yeah, so if you had invested in WazirX, maybe, I don't know, is the account blocked or you do not get the money? If you want the money, you'll not get it.
So if someone had even crores, they might not be able to even retrieve
It
it.
can just disappear overnight.
So I mean, how is that even possible where, you know, you have transacted and you have basically bought those coins or say, you know, traded on that platform and then you, I mean, how is it legally even possible? I'm not sure.
So it's not a currency. So you cannot call it a transactable currency legally.
Okay.
It's they treat it like a commodity.
Okay.
So when you, if you make a profit, you're paying very high taxes.
Okay.
I think you're paying 40% tax.
Okay.
So, you know, why deal in a product where you're paying such a high tax on profits
Okay.
and the risk is higher?
Okay.
Okay, so for fast money, your question was to make quick money. People went to crypto, but all have different versions of crypto.
The credibility is in question in crypto.
So if you want to sustain a long-term wealth creation, you cannot depend on a crypto. Or you have to be, with the risk, you have to be prepared. You are prepared to lose everything also.
So what are the other interesting options which the youth might be more attracted towards?
Yeah. So for you have fixed deposits from banks where you get say 8 to 9% annual interest.
तो वो तो बहुत सुनने में तो मेरे को इनफैक्ट FDs seem like the most boring also because उसके इंटरेस्ट ऐसा लगता है कि यार ओके इतने इंटरेस्ट में कब तो बनेगा.
Yeah. So it appears boring, but you get a fixed income of 9% annually with no risk.
Okay.
The minute you take risk, risk means you are trying to make more money.
Right.
That's why you take risk. So once you decide to take risk, you have the equity markets, you have the currency markets, and you have the commodity markets.
And what about real estate?
So real estate, you need large amount of funds,
Right.
For a long period of time.
But then this investment option of REITs, can you tell us a bit more about REITs?
Yeah. So REITs are, it's more like a property which is lying in one particular listed company, and where they'll give you a payment which is like a rent. It works out to around 5 to 7% annually.
5 to 7%. Okay.
And if the real estate market is going up, so maybe your share which you have purchased of that REIT, that stock price goes up, is your extra benefit. If the stock price doesn't go up, you might just make the rental income with some interest maybe.
Okay.
But if it goes down, you lose all that money.
Okay.
So if there's a fall in the stock price by say 10%, आपका जो 6-7% gain है वो भी चला जाएगा. So risk, there's also a risk there. So whenever you take risk, you have both sides. You have high and low sides.
Right. So, when we're talking of risks, we're talking of different instruments. Can you tell us, from your experience, the people who have made the most money in the market, what trajectory do they use? What kind of instruments do they use? And what's the usual investment period which they usually have?
See, all asset classes are good. I think you cannot say this asset class is better than the other. I'll give you an example. For example, for 50 or 100 years, people are putting 70% of their wealth in real estate. Now, they have not been wrong. Real estate has gone up again and again over the last 50 years. Okay. So, by real estate, I mean land and physical property. So, the elders were never wrong. They bought real estate and which really appreciated over time. So, which has been an excellent asset class. Even in India today, 70% people deploy money in real estate.
Okay.
So asset class तो best ही है, no doubt about it. Then the older generation had purchased gold.
Yeah.
So the older generation had purchased gold and or silver, for example, or diamonds or platinum. So gold was the primary item they purchased because it was easily exchangeable. आपको overnight पैसा चाहिए तो gold देंगे, आपको cash मिल जाएगा. So gold value itna hai कि you can buy, in a small area you can keep so much of value. So people who didn't understand equities or real estate bought gold, and gold prices have gone up so high, like it's now 75,000 approximately per 10 grams. So even that asset class has been done very well. Okay. So it is not so कि equity अच्छा करता है कि gold versus, it's not this versus this versus this. All are good. How you play in that asset class with your knowledge,
right?
You make money in that asset class.
Okay.
But all are good.
Okay. Makes sense. Also, how much money do you have? Also, that might depend कि आप किस class में डाल रहे हैं. जैसे real estate में नहीं डाल रहे, REITs में डाल सकते हैं. And in fact, I want to understand a bit more of, on that similar tangent. जैसे हम crypto की बात कर रहे थे, right? So on the blockchain technology, NFTs have also come into place, right? So मैं अगर देखूँ NFTs and art, can you also tell your perspective on these two investments? Art as in physical art, जैसे paintings है या फिर different sculptures है जो appreciate करते हैं value में, right? That and NFTs. What do you think of investments in this?
So the old school of thought has been physical art, where you're actually buying and displaying in your house or on the wall.
Yeah.
Right? And you buy for appreciation, you buy for being famous, you buy for wealth creation also. Like paintings जो 50 साल पहले ली थी आज maybe it's 5-10 times, for example.
How does that work actually?
Of good artists. For example, so art values go up over time.
I guess is it about reselling कि जैसे समझ लीजिए आपने A person ने buy किया 50 लाख के लिए, then the B person buys from the A person in 1.5 crores. So uski valuation now is 1.5 crores.
So buying and selling is very difficult in the art world
Okay.
because there is no benchmark.
Exactly.
It is a perception.
Exactly.
कोई आर्टिस्ट फेमस हो गया तो उसका ज़्यादा बढ़ जाता है. जैसे आपने हुसैन की पेंटिंग,
हाँ.
तो वो जब फेमस हो गया तो उसके जो भी आर्ट थे काफ़ी प्राइस बढ़ गया. So if you identify the artist or the sculptor,
हाँ.
if you have that knowledge, you can make a lot of money.
Okay.
Another asset class. So, but you need long durations of holding. People buy art for maybe 20, 30, 50 years. So, उनका wealth अलग रहता है. So, normally the wealthy would do that. A very wealthy person will buy art. Because उसके पास उसको debt नहीं है और इतना income है. तो उसके रोटी कपड़ा मकान सब है, फिर आर्ट लेता है.
हाँ.
Okay.
सही
So
बात.
you have all the assets, you have done all the aspiration.
Right.
उसके बाद भी आपके पास पैसा बचा है. You might go for super luxury. So you must have seen people wearing a Patek Philippe worth 10 crore, 20 crore, 50 crore. तो एक्स्ट्रा पैसा है तो घड़ी भी पहन रहा है इतनी महंगी डायमंड वाली है.
And a lot of watches also appreciate in value. Like,
Yeah.
oh, these are the collectibles and
Correct.
the Veblen.
Like what we understand is Rolex, which is commonly known to all of us. So Rolex has been known to appreciate over time because I think they have limited production. So it's another asset class. So I know people who invest in Rolexes.
In fact, people are also investing in sneakers. Sneakers, they have a collection and then that particular collection is limited.
Correct.
And because of that limited nature, it is now increasing then in that value.
तो ऐसे सारे वर्ल्ड में आपको बहुत चीज़ें मिलेंगी जहाँ आपको नॉलेज है, आप वो कर सकते हो. जैसे आपने स्टिकर्स का, तो मुझे कोई नॉलेज ही नहीं है उसके बारे में, फॉर एग्जाम्पल. और क्रिप्टो होगा तो मैंने कभी क्रिप्टो खरीदा नहीं है. यू मस्ट हैव ट्रेड इन क्रिप्टो बट आई डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट इट. यू कैन मेक मनी इन क्रिप्टो बट द रिस्क हाई है.
मेरे ख्याल से देखा जाए तो हर चीज़ से तो पैसे तो ऑब्वियसली बन सकता है, बट यू हैव टू बैलेंस योर पेइंग कैपेसिटी, योर कितने टाइम में आप आउटपुट सोच रहे हैं, कितना पेशेंस है आपके उसमें, राइट. One more interesting instrument I wanted to understand about was treasury fund. So what's that? Can you tell us a bit?
So Government of India nowadays allows you can buy the treasury bond of Government of India,
Okay.
highly secured,
Treasury bond is?
which is called the treasury bill.
Okay.
It's available on retail nowadays.
Okay.
Okay.
Retail as in on the markets?
On the market it's available, and the large banks are always doing it.
Okay.
So typically you get around 7.3% annual interest, 100% guaranteed. It's called sovereign guarantee by Government of India,
Okay.
which is the best guarantee for an individual living in India. तो आपका secured है, return 7%, 7.3%. It is little less than the fixed deposit. So what happens is people go for fixed deposit because 1% ज़्यादा मिलता है. Like you might get 8 to 9% in an HDFC Bank FD, for example.
Okay.
उससे भी ज़्यादा आपको return चाहिए, you might buy corporate bonds.
Okay.
As in Mahindra bond or Tata Capital
Okay.
or Bajaj Auto bond, where they give you little more interest, more than fixed deposits.
Okay.
For example, 9.5% is of a medium corporate.
Okay.
Again, the risk is there कि वो अगर नहीं देता है पैसा.
Because that's a volatile company.
Yeah, but you can trust a Mahindra, they will pay you interest, So it's your perception कि ये company चलेगी और आपको payment मिलता रहेगा. So people invest in bonds to get that extra 1%. Okay.
But then a lot of people I've seen कि क्या होता है कि जब young लोग हैं, I mean research analysts and all also have a particular cost. What people think कि यार ये बड़े financial NBFCs है, फिर financial organizations है, and they have invested in a large chunk in a particular company, right? अगर वो लोग जो भी इन्वेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, on a smaller scale, they see these firms कि इन्होंने इधर इन्वेस्ट कर दिया and they invest at the same time. Do you think कि दिस इज द राइट अप्रोच और सेफ अप्रोच कि उन्होंने इन्वेस्ट किया तो हमारा भी सेफ रहेगा, उन्होंने रिसर्च किया होगा?
वो लोग बहुत लोग इन्वेस्ट करते हैं लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए. जैसे आपने पढ़ा होगा कि somebody is buying, say Goldman Sachs buys Infosys. So Infosys is a good company and Goldman Sachs is buying maybe for very long term.
So we're talking of all these different instruments, possibilities. Now looking at the best of the best, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has been called the Warren Buffett of India. So can you tell us a bit more of his investment strategies?
Yeah, so if you read his story, so he has made bulk of his money or large amounts of money in a single equity stock called Titan, owned by Tata Group.
Yes.
So he was able to identify that Titan will be a very big company over a period of time. and I think he has kept it for more than 20 years, I think.
Okay.
So, right? So he's a very long-term investor in that company. So what it means is he has faith in that company on the growth, the product, the margins on a very long-term basis.
Okay.
So year on year, that company is growing, and he is not selling. He's in fact adding to the investment and holding on to what he has. So with very small amount, what I hear is with 30, 40, 50 rupees or below 100 rupees, he has invested. And today, it is say 3,000 rupee plus, for example. So he had made multiples of money on a single idea,
Okay.
which is Titan.
Okay.
So that's a true way of looking at long-term investment. Similar approach goes to people who invested in Infosys, HDFC Bank, certain large companies like a Reliance, for example. So like your father would have held Reliance for say 30, 40 years. So they have made very good money over a period of time. So they get dividend, they get capital appreciation with just one idea. And they trusted one particular company, particular management, and saw the growth, and they invested the money.
I guess that's where their own research also comes into place. Like, कमाया क्या मैं आप ये करते होगे ना कि that's why I feel this is an approach which a lot of young people don't do कि सही में management को देखे या फिर basis को देखे. And Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, as you were saying, they focus on the fundamentals and the longevity कि कब तक लंबा होएगा, right? Stock का.
So like his approach was like a startup at that moment of time.
Okay.
Titan was very small.
Okay.
So it's like the youngsters are doing startup. For him, it was a startup idea at that point of time.
Okay.
So a startup takes 10 years to grow. He has grown with a listed company called Titan. Okay. So which he could encash on the stock exchange. See the appreciation, see the valuation. Okay. In the startup world, you have seen a Zomato getting listed. You have seen a Policy Bazaar getting listed. So it takes time to mature a business.
What are the major parameters which Mr. Rakesh might have had considered? जैसे Titan है, तो ऐसे कौन से ऐसे specific parameters are the most important to look at?
Usually, one is growth. Growth as in sales.
Okay,
You start from there.
Okay, year on year इतना बढ़.
Year on year कितना grow हो सकता है? So can the company keep on growing on a long period of time?
Okay.
So we see a Reliance Industry or a Titan grow over a period of time.
Okay.
Why do they grow on time? Because they have made good investments. The product is good. So Titan is good in luxury. It's an aspiration buy, being watches, jewelry, fast tag products for youngsters. So it's an aspiration buy. So branded luxury has got higher margins.
Okay.
So higher growth with higher margins gives you a higher valuation. So that's why Titan give him multiple returns. Okay. So that's his idea, and which has worked very well for him.
So, but then the market goes up and then goes down. And उस time पे भी, what's the mindset which people like him are usually people should have, which makes them still hold the stock? Because हर stock तो ऐसा नहीं है कि sustain कर जाता है.
Correct.
Right? So वो, what's that perspective?
So once you study a company in depth and you keep on tracking its quarterly earnings, listen to the con calls, visit AGMs, see market reports, annual balance sheet आता है. So with that data, you can figure out is that company consistently going to go on a long period of time, regularly grow year on year. So ups and downs तो market में आएंगे ही, but end of the year, is it growing again or not? In spite of the falls and the rises, end of that year, again it's going up. So what we call is compounding. That means आज 100 रुपया है, फिर 120 हुआ, फिर 160 हुआ, फिर 200 हुआ.
Can you tell a bit more about, how does compounding actually work?
So compounding works, easy to study. Compounding is the large companies where basically they keep on growing 10 to 20% a year. And the stock price keeps growing from 10 to 15 to 20% a year, depending on the margins and quality of the company.
Okay.
So year on year, you keep on making 10, 15, 20% extra.
So like 100 rupees हुआ 112. फिर 112 का percentage और बढ़ेगा.
So every year you keep on growing. So in 10 years, maybe your money has more than doubled.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because वो जो additional margin है उस पे भी interest बढ़ रहा है, and that basically is compounding to a large extent. That's why investors like Rakesh Jhunjhunwala have been able to make that kind of.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay.
So long-term investment really works well.
Right.
That's the reason always advice is given not to do short-term investments.
Okay.
Because short-term has got risk where you exit a particular stock, which can go wrong in a short period of time. But if you stay invested over a long period of time, there is a good chance you make more money.
So when we talk of long-term investments, and that's majorly Ajkal the youth wants to see when we can retire, how we can retire early. Retire early can also be 10 years, 20 years, which also again is a long-term investment, right? So can you also give certain suggestions for people who might want to, retire early? And in fact, I want to ask you as well. Have you also thought कि okay नहीं मेरे को इस time तक retire होना है तो इतना wealth I have to create to live a comfortable life?
So practically speaking, I mean, 98% people cannot retire. Practically
Okay.
speaking,
Why so? Why does it?
it's a good thought where people think of retirement,
Uh-huh.
but if you just look around, 98% people cannot retire, even at whatever age, irrespective of wealth or money,
Okay.
because they need to work, deploy their ideas,
Mhm.
and maybe grow something else. For example, so there are people who retire and do startup investments. Okay, because they have knowledge, for example, so they never retire.
I mean, that's to keep them active, but
And active means they're working, right?
right.
And they're deploying money. Once you deploy money, you see returns.
Okay. Okay.
So it never stops. So retirement for a fixed income is okay, but retirement in the equity market never ends because you keep on growing.
I was talking in the perspective of just say, okay, we're living a life, we're doing some job or something so that we can sustain our daily expenses. But do you have any particular figure in your mind कि okay, ठीक है, इतना अगर होता है तो फिर one person or a family of 3 or a 4 can actually sustain for, good 40, 50 years, and then the other generation can take it up. Something of that sort.
So once you understand inflation, a concept of inflation is largely you spend 10% every year more in roti, kapda और मकान.
Okay.
तो आपका खाना पीना रहना ट्रैवल सब चीज़ महंगा होता जाता है. So typically you need to earn 10% more every year automatically to have the same level of living. So that is the first objective, to sustain what you eat in the house and what you spend in the house. Then it comes to your wealth creation. Like each one of us will spend differently. So if you want to buy a house, if you don't have a house, you should have a house as a family. So the family will feel secured. So you have to calculate your EMI versus rent, how much you can pay per month.
That's as an investment you're saying. Like, your first investment, you think that it should be.
Yeah, so if you don't have a house, you should own a house. That's good to have.
But then I want to ask another question at this point, because, there's a huge difference in opinions what I'm seeing, about buying and renting a house. Say a lot of current generation people are now, even the billionaires are now living on a rented house. But then, the traditional approach has been to buy a house so that you have safe conformity, one place where your livelihood at least is maintained. Is your why is your mentality in this your thought process in this way ki we should buy a house for sure?
Yeah, so if you're spending money on rent and if there is some bad time, you need a house, which is paid for. So when you buy a house and do EMI, it might take you 10 years to pay the house, which you need for your family, children. You have to evolve with that. You can take the risk of going rental all the way. And the extra money you save, you deploy in, say, fixed deposits, mutual funds, or bonds, for example. So it's an individual risk,
Right.
how much you would like to take and not take.
So availability of funds and the opportunity to invest it somewhere else, one can go for renting the house.
Absolutely.
Right. So but then if there's so much risk, also the markets are so much more volatile. Why are now, say, I've heard that Nikhil Kamath, he's also one of the best investors. I mean, and he runs Zerodha in investment firm itself. Why could be it be the reason where he is also living in a rented house right now?
So for him, he has so much income. So he has the freedom to decide because he's got income in various sources. From, if you see his statements, he's got in fixed deposits, bonds, debt instruments, and so on. So his money income flow stream is very, very large, apart from the business.
Yeah.
So he can take the opportunity to take on rent apartment, because for him, buying an apartment, he has the money for it. He can do it overnight.
Yeah.
For him to live on rent also, he can take a call and do it because his income source is very large.
The cushion for risk is much more.
So if your income source is very large, you can
Right.
take different type of decisions.
Right. Okay. Yes. Makes sense. now we've been talking about the different kind of investments, right? One perspective now I want to bring in are different calamities that can hinder the market's standing. For example, the Hindenburg report which came in, right? So can you tell us a bit more about what it was and what was its implication on the Indian market?
So in recent time, just like 2008, we had the Lehman Brothers crisis, if you remember. So in US, the Lehman Brothers bank collapsed, and it created a ripple effect worldwide. So it started from the US, went across all the US banks, and as a fallout, because US being the largest banking system, it went to Europe, came to India, and where the stock markets, I think, fell from 30 to 50% in a scope of 1 month, for example. Okay. I mean, हमारे language में उसको short circuit बोलते हैं, down circuits.
Okay.
Continuously market गिरता गया.
Okay.
So you as a equity stockholder, you are taking the risk of buying shares, and what you owned became half in 1 month. So it has a lot of implication because your wealth has reduced by half in equity. So that is one thing which happened in Lehman Brothers. So people saw that happen actually.
Right.
Where your wealth disappeared by 50% in equity shares.
Right.
Then we had a Hindenburg report on Adani a year ago. So for India, it was new. A foreign entity whose motive was to short sell Adani shares or the Indian market.
Okay, short sell as in they were banking on that the shares will fall down and basically they'll benefit from the same.
Yeah. So they had first sold some shares of the Indian market.
Okay.
And then they came out with a report.
Okay.
Thinking that there will be a major fall in the Indian stock market, including the Adani Group and other shares as well.
Okay.
And they took advantage of that by selling some shares, which they bought it back when the report came out.
Okay.
So they made a profit which was unexpected.
Okay. So I mean, let's also take it up again from that part where you were saying that. So the structure, what did they do? They first sold the shares.
Yeah. So
Hindenburg. So like Hindenburg is a firm, right, which does analysis.
So Hindenburg is a company which is based out of US. Their laws do not apply to India.
Okay.
So Indian government cannot take a direct action on them because they are a US firm. So what Hindenburg did, took out a report which smeared the Adani Group. Before doing that, they must have sold a lot of shares of Indian companies.
Okay.
Which we called short selling.
Okay.
So short selling allows you to sell shares. When they come down, you buy them back.
Okay.
And that difference is your profit in a short period of time.
Okay.
So that's what Hindenburg intended to do, looking at the data available. So when the first report came out, the Indian market fell, Adani Group fell. After that, SEBI did a survey. The courts did a check, and they found nothing.
Achha.
So what it meant was the report was more like a storytelling without any proper evidence or facts behind it.
Okay. So in a short, basically, they shorted the market, and then they expected that this report will damage the market's standing. It will reduce, and with that difference, they'll earn it.
Correct.
And then basically, but that didn't happen because of the reports and all these things came in. And the second report also came.
So the first report, people didn't expect, so the market fell.
Okay.
Now when the second report came a month ago, people saw that these people are playing foul, as you call it.
Right.
Creating stories.
Right.
And the second report came and the market did not react at all.
Okay.
So that shows maturity of investors.
So, but this directly short seems like a fraud also. I mean, they're manipulating the whole the stock market. So how is this even legal? I mean, just because they're in a different country, is it, they're going through a loophole?
So it is, so the trade is legal, but what they did is illegal. In the sense, without evidence, smearing a company, for example.
The reporting of the, Adani stock so that it falls down.
Correct. So what we read in the papers was SEBI and the courts did a examination of the evidence, and they found nothing which was factual. Otherwise, by now they would have been charged a penalty.
Damn. So I guess this is also a new age loophole of the market, which they saw कि दूसरे country में से कर सकते हैं.
Correct.
And I guess Harshad Mehta and all these scams were also on that lines. I mean, I feel after dematerialization काफी चीजें हम रुक गई है, but अभी भी कई सारे, जैसे अभी ये एक लूप होल उन्होंने यूज किया है, और भी चीजें हो सकती है. So आप एज एन इन्वेस्टर आपको भी कई सारे लूप होल्स दिखते होंगे. So have you
So what India has done fantastic is uh, the organized trading platforms through the NSE, through the depositories. So what you invested is very safe. Okay. What you read about Hindenburg, these are all these are non-regulated entities.
Okay.
Okay, these are storytellers. Which end of the day, people found there's no evidence. Okay, so the systems are very good. So I'll put it that way. The institutions are very good. So we have the SEBI, we have insurance agencies, we have the Reserve Bank, we have the Finance Ministry. So all institutions the policies are very clear. That's why we are putting money in the markets because we feel secured.
Right.
Hindenburg report, first report created a flutter. Now the second report did nothing. So there is a maturity of the market. So scams. So this is not an Indian scam, right? So when you say scam, you have to bifurcate. ये scam कौन कर रहा है? System कर रहा है ये बाहर का आदमी कर रहा है? तो ये system का scam नहीं है.
Got it.
That's a major thing to discuss actually. It is not about trading. It is not about
System को use करके नहीं किया, but
yeah. So somebody else has said something and okay, fine.
So can you tell us a bit more about the system scams? Like जैसे हर्षद मेहता में exactly क्या हुआ?
Yeah, so physical shares were manipulated. The banks used to give delivery notes or money notes, which was manipulated by Harshad Mehta, and that money came to the stock market. So all the stocks went up 3-4 times. So that's called manipulation of the system.
Okay.
So whenever there is a scam, then system comes out to solve that scam.
Scam.
So what came out was the National Stock Exchange,
Okay.
which became paperless trading, entirely digital. So all your shares are dematerialized. It's like a bank account. You get a statement, you see quantity, rates, value. Your trades happen on terminals which are authorized by the stock exchange. So all your trades are transparent. You pay STT on that. There is a proper capital gain statement. So it's working efficiently since that time.
System change आया, technology आया, things became fast and transparency उसके अंदर आ गई.
So scams will always happen because there's a human mind which is always treacherous. Scams do happen. But advantage is having a digital system in place. You can catch the scams earlier.
तो अभी जब डिजिटल भी हो गया है, आप जो बोल रहे कि अभी भी हो सकते हैं, एंड बीइंग देयर ऑन द रिसर्च साइड आपको तो बहुत सारे ऐसे लूप होल्स दिखते होंगे. सो आपको क्या लगता है कि आपको भी ऐसा लगा कि अरे यार ये स्कैम तो बहुत मजेदार हो सकता है करने का, बट यू डिडंट डू इट डेफिनेटली. बट देन
So people do not give factual information in companies. What is stated is not there truly. It can be read through inventory, receivables. There are contingent liabilities. Upcoming liabilities not properly explained. Certain tax issues, GST issues, income tax issues which are not properly explained. Where the liability is lying on the company. So such things will keep on happening. It is up to the investor to read properly in depth and understand the risk when they buy the stock.
So, and from the perspective of, the potential for loopholes in the market, in the current situation, can you identify, okay, these are still the weak points which the exchange needs to tweak so that things are much more secure?
Yeah, so one area is usually the rate of change of a stock, the stock price in a day.
Okay.
So some stocks go up by, so in your large cap, in F&O segment, they can go up by maybe 10 to 20, 30, 40% in a day.
Acha.
Okay. On some stocks, it's limited to only 2%.
Okay.
Depending on the size of the stock and the manipulation which is happening.
Acha.
So there is a price manipulation in the sense people buy too many shares on a single day.
So बढ़ जाता है वो.
Allowing the stock price to go up very fast.
हाँ.
So at some point of time, maybe government can decide, SEBI can decide not to allow some stock movement of particular shares where a lot of manipulation is happening by way of volume purchase, where the stock goes up very fast.
Right.
So what they can do is put in percentages of 2%, 5% a day, or in a month cannot do more than 30%. It's a price freeze.
Okay.
But these are very debatable points. In a free market, it becomes difficult. But there are some small things they can, which are dynamic. They can do it for a month, 2 months, 3 months. So these are actionable items for that particular stock.
Okay.
Need not be on the entire market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. we've explored a lot of areas about investments, and I would love to understand more about your personal finance journey. When was the first investment, and what was it which you made?
So basically, when I was in college, first year BCom,
Acha.
I started with applying for IPOs.
Okay.
There were numerous IPOs from multinational companies.
Ah.
So we used to apply, get allotment, then sell the shares.
This was in which year?
This was, I would say, 1985.
Okay. And how long had it been? The market was.
Since then, I've been in the markets. I mean,
Okay.
all the way, right from that time.
Mhm.
So my education, my work. So every saving I'm putting in equity is what I've learned.
Okay. And what was the amount at 19 which you put in?
So it used to be small amounts, like maybe it's a few shares only for the IPO. Allotments were very easy that time.
Okay.
Nowadays it's very difficult because you're
Less people were bidding for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and all of it was physical, all the physical process.
everything
Okay.
physical. So we used to get by courier, by registered post the shares,
Okay.
and when we want to sell it, we have to we attach a transfer form.
Okay.
It's a green color form. Give it to the broker. Broker will give it to the exchange,
Okay.
and we would get money in say 15 days to 30 days.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And उस time पे आपने start कर दिया, in your first year of BCom. So what do you suggest for young people right now in college? What's the age where, what's the best age to start investing?
So whatever money you have to save, that you can put in mutual funds to begin with.
But then is it कि आपके पास जो बचता है उससे रखो, या फिर do you strongly feel कि जितना भी कमा रहे हो उसमें से minimum इतना amount तो रखना चाहिए आपको से investment में?
जो भी saving है, like everybody's got a different saving element. After spending your money on the livelihood, if you're able to save money, you can do a mutual fund purchase.
Okay.
So whenever you have money, put it in mutual funds to begin with,
Okay.
and that allows you to start your journey in equity.
Okay. And you've got a son as well, right? 24. He's 24, I guess. So what was his journey? When was the first investment when he made it?
Yeah. So similarly, when he was in college, same structure.
Okay.
Basically, when he was 18, he started. Like once you have your PAN card,
Ah.
he started investing.
Okay.
Basically, applying IPO. So he worked for a startup which is in research. So he spent 2 years there. Then he started his own company. He spent another 2 years. So he spent 4 years plus doing equity research.
Okay.
So now whatever he saves, his salary he puts it in equity.
सही है. So जब से गाड़ी की आपकी लाइसेंस आती है तब से आपको इसका भी लाइसेंस मतलब डीमैट अकाउंट बना के करना
Yeah.
चाहिए.
So normally we in our family we start immediately. Once you're 18, we invest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Like, what's your suggestion कि समझ लीजिए 18 हो गए हैं, right? MF आपने बोला कि म्यूचुअल फंड्स के अंदर you can start. And what are the top 3 investment habits do you think one should have?
Very easiest is one is mutual fund. Second is fixed deposits. Some people like gold, so they can buy gold. So all three are electronic. There is no physical touch. So these three are easiest to do. Where you don't need any advisors, you can do it yourself.
But फिर अभी कैसा है कि आजकल people are moving to Mumbai, Bangalore. Mumbai is so expensive. लोग को लगता है कि यार हमारे पास इन्वेस्टमेंट के लिए तो पैसा बचता ही नहीं यार. चाहे तो हमारा जितना भी इनकम हो सकता है कि पैसा बचे ही ना. What do you suggest should be the mindset of people at that side? How important is it to start investing early?
If you can't save, don't think of doing anything else. No, पहले कमाओ. मतलब. If you don't have money to save, you can't think anything else. पहले कमाओ.
Okay. And
you can't. Where will you deploy if you don't have money? Where will you deploy it?
Okay. And what do you think? Can you also tell me personally what was the highest investment which you've made? Single investment, single investment which you've made.
So it has been in InfoEdge, which is InfoEdge Limited. Other name is Naukri.com.
Okay.
So largely, they are the people who invested in Zomato,
Right.
Policy Bazaar,
Right.
99 Acres. Naukri is the website they have. So I used to buy a lot of those shares of that particular company as a single investment.
And how much was the investment? If
It went up to at one time 25 crore rupees, one stock.
Oh,
Yeah.
at a particular point
At
of
a
time.
particular point of time.
Direct investments which you did.
Yeah. So one particular share, one particular investment.
Okay.
So if you have knowledge in a particular company, you can put larger amounts in that company.
And you're still holding it?
Or still holding.
And have you also reinvested in the same stocks?
Yes, we do reinvest at a particular price point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a fairly large amount. Can you tell me a bit more about jab HNIs? What are HNIs and how do they invest?
So HNIs would be largely people with 50 crore plus.
High network
Yeah.
individuals, right?
I mean,
Because
the
of the-
people who do not have debt,
Hmm.
have a lot of surplus income.
Hmm.
Uh, roti kapda makan ho gaya hai.
Hmm.
I mean, they have all aspirations fulfilled. For example,
Hmm.
surplus money, they keep on investing in equity, startups, bonds,
Hmm.
which again generates more money.
Hmm.
So such HNIs would have income from interest, dividends,
Hmm.
rental income,
Hmm.
share market appreciation.
Hmm.
So it can, they have a lot of sources of income. That's how they invest large. Yeah.
You might be also dealing with a lot of HNIs, right?
Oh, yes.
So in that, what's their most preferred stock?
So they have a mix
Stock
of,
or say investment instrument.
yeah, so each has a different risk profile. 50% would put it in debt instruments like
Okay.
bonds
Okay.
or FDs.
Okay.
Other half they'll put in equity, large caps, mid caps, small caps. So it can vary 50-50. Some just go all the way equity.
Hmm.
All the savings they have, they put in equity markets. They're comfortable. So it's a comfort level.
Okay.
It has got nothing to do one versus the other.
Hmm.
उनको कितना comfort है वो important है.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Like some people are comfortable only in FDs. Nothing wrong in that. If you're comfortable in FDs, do it.
But I guess consistency उसमें होनी चाहिए. That
Correct.
you keep it rather than trading. You do investments.
So the mindset is always risk. How much risk you want to do and not do
Hmm.
at that given point.
Okay. Right.
Because all have their own calculations. What is coming up next in their life.
Hmm. But then if
They match it with the risk.
the young people are there who also are okay with day trading. So for example, your son comes to you and says ki, Dad, I want to do day trading and I want to do intraday trading and check out this short term. Would you still suggest him ki if you're confident, go for it, or do you think ki the risk is not worth enough?
Yeah, so with my experience, I can easily say, doing investments, running a brokerage, day traders is not the right way to do it. Most people would lose money doing day trading because the fluctuations are very large. Okay, and they will not be able to sustain or hold that investment. You must have read about SEBI coming with an article where 90% people lose money in day trading. So
yes.
they're talking about facts and figures.
Right.
They have it from the exchanges.
Right.
They know each client how much he's making short term, long term. They know F&O trading, derivatives, everything. So when they come out with a statement, it has got data. So it is not a story. So data says 90% are losing in day trading or short term trading, as you call it. So if the data says 90% lose, it's better to be away.
100%.
So I don't do day trading. We do pure investments.
Never did you do day trading?
Never,
Vinay?
because it doesn't pay off. So don't waste time.
Okay. And in the long term investments and HNIs हम जब बात कर रहे हैं, what is the say the general duration for which people hold money for in investments? Even for the young people, they start investments. When is the actual right time usually people liquidate their wealth?
Largely, I would say if you're planning equity investments or mutual fund, do it on a long-term basis. Unless you have some capital commitments or financial commitment for liquidity where you're selling to buy something else. Otherwise, stay invested, let your capital grow. Risk to hai, but if you like the India structure, India story, there is a good chance you'll make more money.
Okay.
Buying shares.
Okay.
Yes.
And which are the first investments you should make? Like जैसे अगर आपका when you're guiding your son maybe, right? So investments MFs तो कर रहे हैं. But beyond stocks, beyond equities, beyond the assets which make you money, which are the first investments do you think would be safe to do? जैसे
Safe, ideally fixed deposits for the fresh entrants. Then they graduate to mutual funds. Then equity. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. I feel we've got a good idea of what all different instruments are there and which are the safe and the risk factors of a market and also how these frauds have been oriented. So I mean I'm pretty sure that the young people who might be looking at have a perspective on how to get into the life of investment and how to orient their risk. So I mean there's a lot on the plate. I'm pretty sure this will contribute to a lot of young people. So thank you so much, Dhiren sir. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and hopefully this contributes a lot to the young people.
Good. Thanks. Thank you for inviting me. I had a nice discussion.
Yes. Thank you so much.
So how's your experience with the show?
Yeah, I think very nice concept. Doing a podcast so that information goes to several users. I think a very good medium to do a podcast so that knowledge of various individuals goes across. Thank Nitish for this invitation, and I would request all the viewers to like, subscribe, and share with your friends so that knowledge is spread. Yeah, thanks Nitish for the invitation. I really enjoyed the show. I would request all the viewers to in the audience to like, share, subscribe to this podcast. I think it's a very good medium for sharing and having collaborative information, so that the right knowledge is spread across individuals. Thank you for inviting me. I had a great time.